I'm here to talk to you about the purple break. And I was wondering if you've ever been driving when you were tired and you couldn't remember how long that last blink was because you were so exhausted. Well, this happened to me when I was driving home at 2 a.m. from an event that I was speaking at. And my eyelids got heavy. I tried to fight it, but I actually fell asleep at the wheel. And it was terrifying. I just fell asleep. And all of a sudden, I heard this sound. It was like a beep, beep. And I wondered, what is going on? And it startled me. I jolted awake, and I saw an 18-wheeler driving by. He might have seen me or must have seen me swerving and woke me up. And after this experience, two things came to mind. The first is I almost died because I was driving so exhausted. And the second was I'm never going to let that happen again, to get so fatigued that it is death-defying. And so this doesn't just happen when we're driving. This also when we're working. It happens when we're at home. We get tired. We push ourselves to the limit. And so that's why I want to talk to you tonight about the purple break. The purple break is a technique that my father invented when he was in a sleep study. And it's an energy renewal technique that most people have never heard of. The way that it works is he discovered in the sleep study that they came to the house and they put these black sheets and black drapes all over the room, and they got rid of all the light sources. And they said that light is what causes fatigue. And he slept in the dark, total darkness, for a couple of weeks. And in doing so, he got tons of energy, and he thought it was really great. But then the study ended, and he started to travel for work, and he would go to hotels where there would be thin, sheer blinds, and it would be not as restful, and he needed more energy. He was not awake enough. He was more tired. And he thought, well, what was it that caused me to have all that energy just covering the blinds? And he figured out you have a pigment in your eye, and it's called rhodopsin. Rhodopsin is the technical term, but the layman term is visual purple. It breaks down in bright light, like sunlight and fluorescent light, and it's restored in total darkness. When it breaks down, it causes tremendous fatigue. And so in order to have less fatigue and to be more energized, if you sleep in the dark and create dark environments, you will have more energy. But we're not in that kind of environment. So he created this thought process where he said, well, how can I rejuvenate and restore the rhodopsin? And he figured out if he slept eye shield on, so if you sleep with an eye shield on, that will help you in the night. But then in the day, what can you do? And he said in the day, what he would do is he would cover his eyes with the palms of his hands, and it would help him throughout the day. He would take purple breaks. And that's what this concept is for energy renewal. So I'm going to give you a purple break experience right now. If you'd like one, would you like a purple break experience? Say yes. Yes, great. Okay, I'm going to put you in an experiment, so you have to follow along. This is how it goes. First thing you need to do is close your eyes, and I'll do it too. Notice, it's not completely dark. You just can't see. But if you then take the palms of your hands and cover your eyes, it gets darker. And you have to make sure you cover with the palms, because if you cover with your fingers, light can seep through in between your fingers. You can have your eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter as long as it's completely pitch black. You also want to know that if you're wearing glasses, it's probably best to take them off because that might interfere with this purple break. All right, so now we've got the eyes covered. It's completely black and pitch black. We're going to do a backwards count where I'm going to count and you can follow my prompts. So we're going to go from 10 to 1 on each exhaled breath. So here we go. That's 10. Take a deep breath in and then exhale out. 9. Relax. Relax your shoulders. That's where tension is. That's 8. Enjoy this. Take a deep inhale. That's 7. And an exhale. That's 6. And now you want to loosen your jaw because there's a lot of tension in the jaw too. And that's 5. And then we go to 4. Deep inhale. And then you want to exhale. That's 3. And enjoy, relax. That's 2. Inhale and exhale. That's 1. And one more deep inhale and exhale. Now do not open your eyes, but slowly remove your hands. And then you want to slowly open your eyes. And you'll notice that it just feels like the stress and the tension is melting away. And that's an example of what a purple break is. Whenever you're feeling extremely fatigued, instead of powering through, you want to take a moment and power down and take a purple break. And the best time to do it is when you don't think you have any time to do it, because it just takes a minute. And so I was raised around people who took purple breaks frequently. It was part of our family culture. So I would see my mom like this all the time. And she had ocular migraines, and she would need to take a break to be more restorative, to get more energy, to feel better. My dad would take 6 purple breaks a day, and then he would sleep with the eye shield at night. He had tons of energy. And the last 40 years of his life, he only needed to sleep 3 to 5 hours a night. And he was feeling terrific because he was very dedicated to taking the purple break. The downside of the purple break, because 6 times a day is a lot, and you got to remember to do it. So I don't take 6 purple breaks a day. I do have a ton of energy. I sleep with the eye shield at night, and I take 2 to 3 purple breaks in the day, but they have to be scheduled. You have to be disciplined with it. So I usually take one in the morning when I'm just starting before I crank up the email. Then I take one after lunch because that's kind of the sleepy time of day. Anybody here ever have that afternoon lull? Yeah. And when you get to work, you say, oh my gosh, I need my coffee. Do you ever think that way? You're like, please don't talk to me. I haven't had my coffee. And then it's like, oh, or you know what? I'll just take a Diet Coke, right? I need the caffeine. I need something. Or chocolate, M&Ms, some kind of stimulant to get me going. There's always someone with the M&Ms in the office. Have you noticed? Maybe it's you. I don't know. There's always someone who has candy and M&Ms and everything to just hand them out when the coffees are done. And so there's a more natural way to do this, a healthier way to stay alert and alive and awake, and that would be through the purple break. And so the only problem with that is that it's not really socially acceptable at work or even at home to be looking like this, because the body language says that you're in distress and something's wrong. And so we have to think of a way that we can actually do it so it can work and people won't come up to you and interrupt to derail your purple break. But if you create it as part of the culture and you teach people what it is and how to do it, that's what TED is all about. TEDx is here tonight to talk about ideas worth sharing. And this is definitely one to help others to have more energy, be more rejuvenated. And so when you take it at work and say you are like this and you don't tell anybody what it is, what if you're in sales? People are going to say, uh-oh, what happened? Did we lose an account? Or worse, what if you're a surgeon and it's before an operation? You're like, just a moment. It's like, not much confidence in that, but yet it should be a positive experience because they're resting and getting more focused. And if you're at home and you come in, someone comes into your kitchen and you're at the dining room table like this, again, it's not a good look. And so if you spread this idea, you share the joy, you share the purple break with others, it will help everybody to be more effective. And when you take the purple break, you can also combine it with something called the smooth drop, drop, drop. The smooth drop, drop, drop is a technique that I learned from someone that I work with, and she was doing a side gig over at a mental health clinic. And this is a mental health clinic where people would kind of crash and burn, and they were kind of sent there because they had a heart attack or a stroke or a nervous breakdown because they were working too hard. And what happened is she would teach them all these good techniques on how to recuperate. It would be like a physical therapy. And I said, well, I just want to know the one thing that they all can do that will make them feel more restorative. I don't need to know all the things, just the one thing that you think helps the most. And she instantly said, oh, that's the smooth drop, drop, drop. And I said, what's that? And she said, well, we tell them to smooth their forehead, drop their eyebrows, drop their jaw, and drop their shoulders. And I said, you mean to tell me these top executives are going to do a smooth drop, drop, drop? And she said, well, when you had a heart attack, a stroke, or a mental breakdown, you'll do anything that someone advises who is a specialist or an expert in the field. She said, I highly recommend it. So what I love about the smooth drop, drop, drop is you can do it while you're doing a purple break. That's why during your purple break, I had you relax your shoulders and relax your jaw, because that's where the tension is. Have you ever been on a train, a commuter train, and you're going to work or coming home and you see people, they look like this? And they look like that because they're trying desperately to conquer the fatigue, but the lights are right there. So it's not helping at all. But I guess the loosening of the jaw might help a bit. It's the most relaxation state. So I do everything I tell you to do. So I'm doing the smooth drop, drop, drop. And I said to her, there's a flaw in your technique. And she said, what's the flaw? I said, well, when you do the smooth drop, 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 you drop the jaw, you start to drool. She said, oh, but that's the ultimate relaxation state. So you can do it any way that you wish if you choose to use it, but it is a good technique to use simultaneously with the purple break. And so I promised myself I would never get in the position that I got when I was barreling down the highway, falling asleep at the wheel. And I'm only here because of this beeping horn behind me. It saved my life. I said, I'm never going to let that happen again. So I'm driving again on a highway many years later. And I said, you know what, I'm going to stop and take a purple break. I'm really tired. I pulled over somewhere very safe and I start with my purple break and I hear this tap, tap, tap. It's like a tap, tap on the window next to me. And I look and it's a police officer. Oh, brother. So I said, roll down the window. I said, hello, officer. He said, hello. Is everything okay? Because I'm like this. I said, yes, officer, I'm just taking a purple break. Well, I didn't know there were illicit substances that have the word purple in them. He didn't like the answer. And he said, and I have a line for you to walk. And I thought, uh-oh. So I said to him, officer, are you retired? He said, yes. I said, well, did you know you have a pigment in your eye? It breaks down in bright light. It's restored in total darkness. It's called visual purple. And if you relax and breathe and cover your eyes like I was doing, then you'll be more energized. And I just wanted to do that instead of driving while tired. And he said, that's very interesting. And I didn't have to walk the line. So my wish for you and my last few words are that there is something called impactful resilience. And what impactful resilience is, it's different than resilience. Resilience is powering through, and we know how to do that. Impactful resilience is stepping away from the action. And when you step away from the action, you come back stronger. And an example of this is, have you ever drafted an email and you're drafting the email and you're making it really nice, you're about to hit the send button, someone needs you, you go to talk to them, you help them out, you come back and you look at that email and you say, I was going to send that? That's not good. I've got these typos and things, and then you redo it and you make it better. But the reason why is because you stepped away. You came back and you saw it with new eyes. And so if you can make a plan to take that pause, it can make a difference. And I looked up peak performance because taking the pause and impactful resilience impacts the peak performance. And I want to be a peak performer, don't you? Everything I do, I want to be my best. And it said one word when I looked up peak performance on a search that I didn't expect. It was the first word. I thought the word was going to be do reps, have a coach, positive attitude, something like that. Instead, it said rest. And when I go to the gym and I look up on the screen and they show me all these reps I can do, like jumping and moving, and then it says rest. And so the best way to rest is taking a purple break. Now that you know what it is, I'm excited that you can actually use it and share it with other people. And so the questions you want to ask yourself is, are you going to look where you sleep and make sure it's dark? Are you going to get an eye shield so you can have a rested sleep at night? Can you in the day, schedule your purple breaks, because we don't schedule it, we forget, because the email dings and the phone rings and the screen lights up and all these things happen in our day. The meetings come and then we don't take the purple breaks. We don't have the energy necessary to be our very best. So when you ask yourself these questions, I know that you will be able to actually incorporate it into your day routine as a habit. And finally, according to an article that I read in the Harvard Business Journal, they said the best way to lead is to lead from a position of calm. And what could be more calming than a purple break? So please take a purple break. It is a restorative pause for greater energy. And if you make it a way of life, if you use it, you share it and live it, then tremendous energy and success will be yours. Thank you.